Coming to question 2b, Universe Limited keeps no stock records, but a physical inventory of stock is made at the end of each quarter and the valuation is taken at cost. The company's year ends on 31st March 2021 and their accounts have been prepared on that date. The stock valuation taken on 31st March 2021 was, however, misleading, and you have been advised to value the closing stock as on 31st March 2021 with the stock figure as on 31st December 2020, and some other information is available to you. So now, what is their date of financial statements? The date of financial statements is the end of the year, which is 31st March 2021. And their date of valuation of physical inventory, or the date of physical verification of inventory, is 31st December 2020. So can I say in physical verification is happening before the valuation date? Yes. If physical verification is happening before the valuation date, generally what do? We add our purchases, we deduct cost of sales, and then we have plus or minus other adjustments depending on whatever other information is available to you. But your purchases will be added and your cost of sales will be deducted. Please remember, do not directly deduct the sales figure. Your selling price has to be converted to cost price, and then the cost of sales has to be deducted to arrive at your closing stock. Okay, let me see the other information available with me. The cost of stock as on 31st December 2020, as shown by the inventory sheet, was rupees 2,40,000. Okay. As per your inventory verification, the stock on 31st December is 2,40,000 rupees. On second point, on 31st December, stock sheet showed the following discrepancies. A page total of 15,000 had been carried to the summary sheet as 18,000. The actual value was 15,000. You have shown 18,000. So can I say we are supposed to deduct the difference? Yes. Second one, the total of a page had been undercast by 600 rupees. What do you mean by the word undercast? Undercast means under totaled. So your actual total has been less by 600 rupees. So can I say we will add 600? Yes. So now what are we doing for this particular adjustment? We have identified that I am going to add, and page total of 515,000 carried as 18,000. So I'm going to deduct. Next, invoices of purchases entered in the purchase book during January to March 2021 total to 2,10,000. What do we do to purchases? We are supposed to add purchases, but they go ahead to say out of this 9,000 related to the goods received prior to 31st December, invoices entered in April 2021 relating to goods received in March total to 12,000. Okay, we are supposed to do some adjustment for this 9,000 and this 12,000 rupees. Similarly, point 4, sales invoice to customers total to 2,70,000. What are we supposed to do to sales? We are supposed to deduct the sales after converting it to cost price. Sales in what sales amounted to rupees 2,70,000, and then they also say of this rupees 15,000 related to goods dispatched before 31st December, goods dispatched to customers before 31st December but invoiced in April 2021 total to rupees 12,000. So we again need to do some adjustment for this 15,000 and 12,000 rupees. Okay. Point number 5. During the final quarter, credit notes. What do you mean by credit note? Credit note is given to your debtor, implying our sales returns. So these are sales returns. If sales is deducted, can I say sales returns will be added? Yes. So credit notes invoiced value of rupees 3,000. Now again, 3,000 is your invoice value or selling price. You need to convert it to your cost price. Why? All the amounts should either be cost price or it should be selling price, because my purchases is at cost price. The amount that we start with 2,40,000 is at cost price. So we convert everything to cost price. Okay. This credit note of 3,000 rupees has been issued to the customers, and then the gross margin earned by the company is 25% on cost. Why are they giving you this profit percentage? To convert your selling price to profit. You are required to prepare a statement showing the amount of stock at cost as on 31st March 2021. So we need to find out what is the value of stock at cost on 31st March 2021. Let us go ahead. How do I start? I will start with the figure given to me on 31st December 2020. So now, question 2b, valuation of physical stock as at 31st March 2021. We start with the stock as on 31st December, 2,40,000 rupees. Now, Coming to point number 1, a page total of rupees 15,000 had been carried to the summary sheet as rupees 18,000. So you have shown more, we have to deduct 3,000 rupees. So I will say point number 2A, right? Yes, point number 2A. Overcasting of a page total 18,000 minus 15,000, 3,000 will be deducted. Next, 2B. The total of a page had been undercast by rupees 600. So you have undercast a page total by rupees 600. So now I'm going to say 2B, undercasting of a page total, I'm going to add 600 rupees. Okay, now let us see what is going to happen to purchases. Invoices of purchases entered during the quarter of January to March total to rupees 2,10,000. So they've given you that the purchase invoices made during the month or during the quarter amounted to rupees 2,10,000. Out of this, 9,000 related to goods received prior to 31st December. So can I say this has actually been purchased prior to 31st December? Yes. So I'm not going to include 9,000 from my purchases. From the value of 2,10,000, I'm going to remove 9,000 because this was received prior to 31st December. Next, invoices entered in April 2021 relating to goods received in March. We have received the goods in March, 12,000, but the invoice was made in April. Can I say this 12,000 should be included in 2,10,000? In that 2,10,000, it is not included because the invoice is in April. Now I'm going to include and I'm going to say plus 12,000 rupees. So what is the purchase that I'm going to take? 2,10,000 minus 9,000 plus 12,000 will be the net purchases which will be added. So I come to the answer. This is point number 3. Goods purchased and delivered, purchased and delivered. I am assuming that the invoice, or I'm taking the point of ownership transfer at the delivery date. So goods purchased and delivered during January to March 2021, 2,10,000 minus 9,000 plus 12,000, giving an amount of 2,13,000 to be added. Next, coming to point number 4, sales invoice to customers total to rupees 2,70,000 during the quarter of January to March. Out of this, 15,000 related to goods dispatched before 31st March. So again, 15,000 is dispatched before 31st March itself, so it should not be included in 2,70,000. And then they say goods dispatched to customers before 31st March but invoiced in April amounted to rupees 12,000. So 12,000 is not included. I need to include 12,000 in my sales. And what is the total sales? 2,70,000 minus 15,000 plus 12,000. Now this is my selling price. I need to convert this to cost price. So how do I convert this to cost price? The profit is 25% on cost. So what do I get the amount? 2,70,000 minus 15,000 plus 12,000. That is equal to 2,67,000. Here, point number 4, goods sold and dispatched. 2,70,000 minus 15,000 plus 12,000 coming up to 2,67,000. I am going to remove the profit from this and I'm going to arrive at cost. So how do I remove the profit? It is 25% on cost. So 2 lakhs, this 2,67,000 that I have got is not my cost. So don't do 2,67,000 into 25%. You need to do 2,67,000 into 20%. 25% on cost, 20% on sale, or you can apply 25 divided by 125 on sale. Okay. So in the similar way, 2,67,000 into 25 divided by 125 is equal to 53,400. So now 2,67,000 minus 53,400 comes to 2,13,000. Okay. Coming to the last point, during the final quarter, credit notes at invoice value of rupees 3,000 had been issued to the customers in respect of goods returned during that period. So this is nothing but my sales returns. What am I supposed to do to sales returns? Sales was deducted. So now sales returns will be added. Will it be 3,000? No, it is going to be at 3,000 minus profit. So how do I get profit? 600 rupees. 600 rupees is nothing but star. I'm writing on the left hand side. 3,000 into 25 divided by 125, which is nothing but 3,000 into 20%, 600 rupees. Yes, sir. So now I have a total addition of 600 plus 2,13,000 plus 2,400 coming up to 2,16,000. Total deductions 3,000 plus 2,13,000 coming up to 2,16,600. No, I think there is some calculation error here. 2,16,000 is right. This is 2,13,600. This amount is being printed. There is a printing mistake in the amount there. 2,13,600. I'll just mark it in red color. And then you get a deduction of 216,600, and you get the value of closing stock 2,40,000 plus 2,16,000 minus 2,16,600, giving a value of 2,39,400. I hope this solution is clear. In the exam, along with this, you might also have adjustments of sale of goods or approval or return basis. Something that has not been approved or returned by the customer at the end of the year will be added to your closing stock. Or you could have goods sent on consignment. If you are the consigner, you will include it in your closing stock. If you are the consignee, it will not be part of your closing stock. So these are two extra points to be kept in mind for such kind of problems. Okay, now let us go to question 3. Question 3A. Mr. Z accepted a bill for rupees 50,000 drawn on him by Mr. Y on 1st August 2020. Mr. Z accepted the bill, so Mr. Z is the drawee. It was drawn by Mr. Y, so Mr. Y is the drawer. It was a 3-month bill. This amount, this was for the amount which Z owed to Y. On the same day, Mr. Y got the bill discounted with at his bank for rupees 49,000. The bill was for rupees 50,000. They've got it discounted with the bank for rupees 49,000. Okay. On the due date, Z approached Y for renewal of the bill. Mr. Y agreed on the condition that rupees 10,000 be paid immediately along with interest on the remaining amount at 12% per annum for 3 months, and that for the remaining balance, Z should accept a new bill for 3 months. These arrangements were carried through. On 31st December, Z became insolvent and his estate paid 40%. Pass journal entries in the books of Y. So they're asking us to pass journal entries in the books of the drawer. Now, just to give you a note on what are the scenarios existing over here. First, the bill is drawn. Then we have discounting of the bill. Then we have renewal of the bill. Renewal has 2 conditions. And then we have insolvency. So they have combined 3 scenarios and given a particular question to you. No problem. We can go ahead to pass the journal entries. They've asked journal entries in the books of Mr. Y, who is your drawer. Chalo, let us go ahead. Solution to question 3, journal entries in the books of Mr. Y. Okay, the first journal entry that I'm always going to draw is recording or acceptance of the bill. So in the books of Mr. Y, it's a bill receivable. Bill receivable is an asset, therefore bill receivable will be debited. I have bill receivable account debtor to Z account, the value of the bill being 50,000 rupees. Okay, next I'm going, what am I doing? On the same day, Mr. Y is getting the bill discounted with his banker. So when he gets the bill discounted with his banker, the bill value is 50,000. He is going to receive a lesser amount. In this case, he is receiving 49,000. So what is the difference of 1,000? It is an expense for the drawer, which will be debited. So I will debit bank account with the amount received 49,000. I will credit bills receivable with the amount of bill going out 50,000. And then the difference of the two is nothing but my discount, which is an expense for the drawer, therefore is debited. Bank account debtor, discount account debtor to bills receivable account, your entry for being the bill being discounted with the bank. Next, what happens on due date? Now, when is the due date? It was a bill drawn for 3 months. The bill was drawn on 1st August. So 1st August plus 3 months plus 3 days grace comes up to 4th November. Please remember, you also need to calculate your dates for your journal entries. Do not leave the date column blank. Do not assume that they have not given you the date. You need to calculate your due date for the given term of the bill. Remember, a bill always has 3 days grace. So 1st August plus 3 months, 1st November, 1st November plus 3 days, 4th November. Now what is happening on 4th November? Z approached Y for renewal of the bill. So can I say the old bill has to be cancelled? If he is approaching for renewal of the bill, I am supposed to cancel the old bill. but the old bill has been given to the bank for discounting. So will I credit bills receivable? No. Now when Z does not pay for the bill, what is going to happen? Y has to pay to the bank. Yes. So what will happen? I will record Z account at R. Why? Because the amount is receivable from Z, and I will credit my bank account on payment being made to the bank. Because Z did not pay, Y needs to pay to the bank rupees 50,000, rupees 50,000. Z account at R to bank account. Okay. Now what is happening on this date? They want to renew the bill. There are two conditions for this. What are the two conditions? The bill is of value 50,000 rupees. The value of the bill is 50,000 rupees. And then they say 10,000 be paid immediately along with interest on the balance. And what is the rate of interest? They say 10,000 be paid immediately along with interest on the remaining amount at 12% per annum for 3 months. So the renewal period is 3 months and your interest per annum is 12%. Okay. So we are going to calculate interest at 12% for 3 months. And what is the balance? 40,000 rupees. Okay. So now they're saying your new bill amount is going to be 40,000 rupees. What is the amount of the cash to be received immediately? That will be 10,000 plus 40,000 into 12 by 100 into 3 by 12 comes up to 10,000 plus 1,200 equals to 11,200. Now, before recording the receipt of 11,200, don't you think I need to record this 1,200 as an interest? Because it is a gain for the drawer. So that first that 1,200 rupees is to be recorded as an income, and then I'm going to record the receipt of money. Okay. So I go and record in the books of Y. Z account debtor to interest account. Z account is the one who is going to pay. So he's the debtor or from whom I'm going to receive the money. To interest account, I have credited interest because it is an income. During renewal of a bill, it is an income for the drawer. Okay, the amount, like I said, 40,000 into 3 by 12 into 12% coming up to 1,200 rupees. Kindly cancel 10. It is 1,200. It is not 12,000. Okay. Next, we are going to receive the money and we are going to draw a new bill. The new bill will be drawn for 40,000 rupees. So I will say cash account debtor 11,200. How did I get 11,200, sir? It is 10,000 plus 1,200. 10,000 the amount which is supposed to be received now out of the 50,000. 1,200 the interest on the balance amount. Bills receivable will be 40,000. How do I get 40,000, sir? It is nothing but 50,000 minus 10,000. So 40,000 is the new bill drawn to Z account, 51,200. 50,000 the value of the original bill, 1,200 the value of interest. Next, what happens? On 31st December, Z becomes insolvent and his estate paid 40%. So if Z becomes insolvent on 31st December, first I'm going to cancel the bill, where I will record Z account debtor to bills receivable, the value of the second bill, which was 40,000 rupees. And then because I'm receiving 50%, I will say cash or bank account debtor 40,000 into not 50%, 40%, 40%, 16,000. Bad debts account debtor 24,000. Bad debts will be debited because it is a loss. And then to Z account 40,000 rupees being the amount received and written off on Z's insolvency. So simple question, we had discounting with the bank, we had renewal of the bill, and we had insolvency of the acceptor or insolvency of the drawee. Okay, let us go to the next question. On 31st March 2021, goods sold at a sale price of rupees 30,000 were lying with the customer, Sapan, to whom these goods were sold on sale or return basis, where they were recorded as actual sales. Since no consent had been received from Sapan, you are required to pass adjustment entries presuming goods were sent on approval or approval at a profit of cost plus 25%. The present market price is 20% less than the cost price. Now, what happens when goods are sent on approval basis, approval or return basis, and the end of the financial year arrives? and goods have not yet been approved, not yet been rejected, then what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to cancel the sale entry. Why? Because they were recorded as actual sales when we sent them. This is when goods are sent on approval or return basis casually. That is very rarely it is happening in the business. We treat it as an ordinary sale, but then at the end of the year, if they have not yet accepted the goods or if they have not yet rejected the goods, then what do? We reverse the sale entry, entry number 1. Entry number 2, we record our closing stock with the customer. Entry number 1, reversal of sale, will be done at the selling price itself. Entry number 2 will be done at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Okay, let me go ahead to record the journal entries. Now I say journal entries. We do not know in whose books we are recording, so I just say journal entries. The first entry is for reversal of sale. So I'm going to record sales account data to Sapan account. When I make the sale, what I would have recorded? When I send the goods, I would have recorded Sapan to sale. Yes. So now on reversal, I'm going to record sales to Sapan. Please note, do not record sales return to Sapan because you have not actually sold the goods. So you cannot record a sales return. It is just a reversal or a cancellation of the original entry. The original entry was Sapan to sales. So now I am recording sales to Sapan at my selling price of 30,000 rupees. Next, I need to record closing stock. So my entry is going to be inventory with customers account debtor to trading account. Now, what is the value? The value is supposed to be cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Chalo, let us find out the cost price. The selling price of these goods is given 30,000 rupees, and they say goods are sent at cost plus 25%. Goods are sent at a profit of cost plus 25%. Okay, so if I remove the 25%, then will I arrive at cost price? Yes, 25% is on cost. So this 30,000 is selling price. I need to convert, sir. So I will say 30,000 into 25 divided by 125, or 30,000 into 20%. 6,000 is the amount of profit. Therefore, the cost of goods is 24,000 rupees, which was 30,000 minus 20%. Now, the current market price is 20% less than the cost price. My cost price is 24,000 rupees, but the current market price is 24,000 minus 20%, coming up to 19,200. If the current market price is 19,200, can I say the net realizable value is 19,200? Yes. Now valuation of inventory will be done at this cost or this NRV, whichever is lower, and therefore we are going to adopt 19,200 for our valuation. 19,200 as per your working note. Able to follow? Simple points to be kept in mind. Valuation of inventory done at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Okay, now let us go to question 3C. Question 3C. Okay. Mira purchased goods on credit. His due dates for payments are given below. You are required to calculate average due date. What is average due date? Average due date is a date on which a single payment will be made instead of multiple payments without any loss to either of the parties. So now, if you see here in this particular case, Mira has made 4 transactions of 4 various amounts, and then they want to calculate an average due date. Instead of making 4 payments, she's going to make a single payment. Okay, how do we calculate average due date? Average due date is equal to base date plus total product divided by total amount. Now, for the base date, what do we need? For the base date, I need earliest due date. Do I have my due dates given in this question? Yes, they have already given me the due dates in this question. Please do not always assume that your transaction date will be your due date. There might be some information to calculate your due date or something like this where your due date is given to you. So out of these dates, I'm going to see whichever is my earliest due date, and that will be my base date. The base date is September 8th. Now let us go to solve this question. For any question given on average due date, you need to have a few columns compulsory in your question. Solution 3C, calculation of average due date. The columns that you need to have will always be due date, amount, number of days from base date, and product, plus or minus few additional columns if you need to calculate this particular due date. Here they have directly given it to you, so I'm directly taking the due date. Now, how do I calculate, sir? Due date already given in the question. Amount already given in the question. Number of days from base date, which is my base date, 8th September, the earliest due date is my base date. So now I am going to calculate the number of days. How do I calculate, sir? I'm going to calculate number of days from 8th September to 8th September, which is 0 days. Next, I'm going to calculate 8th September to 18th October. How do I calculate, sir? Let me write it on the side over there. This is star 1 from 8th September. So September is equal to 30 minus 8 days. October 18th. So plus 18, that is equal to 40. Okay, sir. Next one, we have it as 8th September to 13th November, star 2. 8th September. So September 30 minus 8, October 31, November 13 comes up to 66. And then star 3 from 8th September up to 10th December. Star 3, September 30 minus 8, October 31, November 30, December 10, coming up to 93 days. Yes, I have checked the calculations. They are correct. So, and then how do I get the product, sir? Product is equal to number of days into amount. Number of days from base date into amount. 600 into 0 coming up to 0, 400 into 40 coming up to 16,000, 550 into 66 coming up to 36,300, 800 into 93 coming up to 74,400. Then I take the total of my product column, which is coming up to 126,700. I take the total of my amount column, which is coming up to 2,350. And like I told you, average due date is equal to base date plus total product divided by total amount. So my base date is 8th September plus 126,700 divided by 2,350, which is equal to 8th September plus 54 days. Now from 8th September, if I need to calculate 54 days, I need to keep in mind it is approximately less than 2 months. So 8th September, in the month of September, how many days? 30 minus 8 comes up to how much? 22 days. Okay. In the month of October, how many days? 31 days. How much does that make a total of? 53. How many days do I need? I need 54 days. So can I say for November, I'm going to consider 1 day, and therefore the average due date being 1st November. They've not given you the year. If they're giving you the year, you need to also mention the year. So here I will directly mention as 1st November is my average due date. Simple calculations. Be careful in calculating number of days. Also, point to be kept in mind, if this was a bill of exchange, you need to add 3 days while calculating your due date. 3 grace days as per the Negotiable Instruments Act. Okay,